and welcome to the Mayor's News Briefing. I appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate the news outlets being here, and this is my opportunity to share a few things with you that I've been involved in the last few weeks, and to answer any questions and to clarify where we're at as a community, and hopefully get some good news out to folks. Particularly, there's some great events that are on the horizon in the city of Mesa, some exciting announcements, and we're anxious for you to help us share that story. So I'll just start talking about a few things that I've been involved in recently, and then I'd be happy to respond to any questions that you might have about any of this or anything that I don't talk about as well. I've been traveling a little bit the last couple of weeks on city business, and it's been good. It's been exciting. Week before last, I had the privilege of spending a day in Cupertino, California. Cupertino, as you may know, is the current one and only world headquarters for the Apple Corporation. I say it that way because the first part of next year, Apple will have two worldwide headquarters, one in Cupertino and the next one in Mesa, Arizona. After having spent the day with Apple, I can tell you I am more excited than ever with this wonderful blessing that we have to be the next home of a worldwide Apple headquarters. I had the privilege of meeting with the CFO who was there, and several of the other executives, and they just reiterated the commitment that they've made to Mesa. Just to remind everybody what that is, in case there's any confusion over the numbers, we will have 150 Apple badged employees that will be executive level, highly skilled Apple supervisors. I believe several of those will come from Cupertino, but Apple's also committed to creating new jobs using local talent. So it's a great opportunity for new employment here in Mesa. In addition to those 150 Apple badged employees, given well, let me back up a little bit. Here's the scope of what this facility is going to be. All of the Apple cloud operations will be managed worldwide, will be managed out of this facility. So that means anytime you log on to iTunes or Apple Store, use any of the Apple cloud operations, a light and a bell will go off in Mesa, Arizona. So literally the Apple cloud will be floating over Mesa, Arizona. So that is if you think about just the global scope of the Apple brand and how many millions, if not billions, of people are walking around with Apple devices in their pockets or pulling out Apple laptops and using the Apple cloud operation on a daily, if not hourly basis, that is just a huge undertaking. That's a huge technological task. So in addition to the 150 Apple badged employees that will be here, there will at any given time be between 300 and 500 contract employees that are making this huge operation function. There's also a huge financial investment in this facility. Going forward, Apple will, over the next few years, spend $2 billion in improvements to that building. So obviously the economic impact of just the construction activity is very significant, but then the ongoing economic impact of the several hundred jobs that will be there between the Apple badged employees and the contract employees and the suppliers and the other folks that will be related to Apple is going to be extremely significant. The other exciting portion of this is that Apple is, given the strength of its brand, will be a draw for our Elliott Road high-tech corridor. So as you know, the Apple facility is going to be on the corner of Signal, Butte, and Elliott in the southeast part of Mesa, near the Eastmark development and near Gateway Airport. All along that Elliott Road corridor, the city has made substantial investment in terms of utilities and dark cable, or dark fiber. Thank you very much, Maria. Dark fiber and a kitty corner to that facility. The city is spending a little over $200 million on a water treatment plant. So all of the facility, all of the utility infrastructure in terms of electricity, all of the other amenities that a large corporation needs to create jobs and to have a significant impact on our community are already right there. So we're hoping that Apple's location there will help us shine a bright light on that stretch of road, in addition to what Apple will bring in and of itself. The other thing that is exciting for me is that Apple has a history of growing where they are currently located. So the Apple building is a 1.3 million square foot building, and they're not using the entire portion of that building. So my job as the mayor will be to continue, I think, to make sure Apple is happy, that they feel welcome, that they feel like this has been a good decision for them, and to encourage them at every opportunity to look for opportunities to expand their commitment to Mesa. So that was a great experience, and like I say, on behalf of the city, I couldn't be more excited, and we're looking forward to them coming and being part of the Mesa community beginning the first part of next year. And then last week, again, I had an opportunity to leave town and to go visit our money back in Washington, D.C. I was part of a GPEC, or Greater Phoenix Economic Council, delegation of about 50 elected and business leaders that went back to Washington, D.C. We met with the congressional delegation, including Senator Flake and Representative Sinema and Salmon, along with a lot of important business people. We've spent a good deal of time at Boeing, and met with the Canadian ambassador. The impact of the Canadian dollars in the East Valley and in Mesa is, I think, really can't be overstated. So that was an important meeting, and I thought a good use of our time. In addition to being part of that delegation back in D.C. with the Greater Phoenix Economic Council, it was fortunate that I was there because there was also an activity going on with the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Last week, as I'm sure everyone knows, was Infrastructure Week. Happy Infrastructure Week. Hope you all enjoyed it. And so that was an opportunity for us to, there was a great deal of lobbying that went on among the mayors and up on Capitol Hill. So I was able to join with Mayor de Blasio from New York, frankly, and visit with Senator Inhofe, who's the chairman of the Senate Transportation Committee, to talk about what is actually a fairly serious situation. The surface transportation funding for our nation expires the end of this month. And so at a national level, there's the potential for some serious consequences unless Congress acts to reauthorize that financing, and maybe more importantly, to take a more long-term approach to the way they fund surface transportation. So I was pleased to be involved in that. And one of the lessons that I've learned from my predecessor, Scott Smith, is that for our local economy to be strong and to be relevant, we have to be engaged at a national level. And so I think that certainly is true. Apple coming to Mesa is certainly a good example of that. But I think that it's important that Mesa, Arizona, be in Washington, D.C., be telling our story, be making the asks for the things that we need to be successful as a community, and also be recruiting businesses like Apple nationally as well as globally. The emphasis, like I said, this last week in Washington, D.C. was on infrastructure, and that is of critical importance not only nationally but particularly here in Mesa. The reason we located Apple to Mesa, Arizona is because the city made an investment in taking the utilities out to that part of town and out to that building. So we set the stage for a company like Apple to come to Mesa. The reason that we have light rail coming to downtown Mesa is because as a region, we adopted a regional Prop 400 tax so that we can entice federal money to come to downtown Mesa to be part of projects like the light rail expansion in Mesa. So infrastructure is a big concern of mine and a very important issue for Mesa City government. Speaking of light rail, another issue that we've been involved in lately is doing what we can to be proactive in trying to jumpstart some additional investment in our downtown. We are excited for the arrival of light rail in Mesa, and we have, you may know, at various stages we have held what's called the milestone events, celebrating the progress of light rail as it proceeds into downtown Mesa. The next of those events is going to be in just a week or two, I think the first week of June. And at that event, we will then announce the grand opening of light rail, which will be sometime at the end of the summer. That, of course, will be the large, the biggest event. June 3rd, I'm sorry, looking at my notes, is the date for the next milestone event. And then just to warn people, or maybe get people a little bit excited, for the last couple of weeks of the month of May, you're actually going to see trains going up and down the street in downtown Mesa. That's part of the testing process to get ready for the big event that's going to be the end of the summer. So in anticipation of the light rail arriving in downtown Mesa, that I'm feeling a great deal of pressure to do what I can to help spur some and jumpstart some additional economic development in downtown Mesa. There's a lot of great things going on in downtown Mesa. There's a lot of great restaurants, a lot of great businesses. The Mesa Arts Center, frankly, is a world-class facility. If folks haven't had the opportunity to go and experience that, they really need to. A couple of years ago, the Mesa Arts Center won the global award for the venue of the year. Runner-up to the Mesa Arts Center was a facility called the Sydney Opera House, just to give you a little perspective as to what type of a facility we're blessed with. So to complement that, and also because light rail is coming downtown, I think it's important that we put a lot of emphasis on using city resources to do what we can to encourage development in downtown Mesa. So to that end, a few weeks ago, the first part of May, we issued, or actually in April, we issued what's called a request for qualifications, an RFQ, inviting the development community to get involved in downtown Mesa. This particular RFQ was focused on the piece of property that sits at the intersection of Main Street and Center Street. So in the next week or so, we'll know what the results of that RFQ process are and what we can do to help private investment in downtown Mesa to catch up with the public investment with the light rail and the other investments that we've made in downtown. I see that as probably a formula that we'll continue to use. This is the first time we're using it, but it's my hope that we'll continue to use it frequently with strategic pieces of property in downtown Mesa that we want to target for development. So I'm hopeful that will bear some good fruit. Another piece of good news that I want to share with you is that the economy continues to improve. I think we all are hopeful that the rate of that the momentum of improvement will continue to improve, but slowly but surely the local economy is picking up. And the reason I say that is because we received the sales tax numbers for the month of March. March, as you know, is a big month in the city of Mesa. That's when we hope to see a lot of return on our investment in spring training. And that certainly was the case this year. As you know, the attendance records were broken for the Cubs this year. It was a phenomenal month for the Cubs, and it was equally as good for the Oakland Athletics. They had record attendance for their spring training games as well. So as a result of that, again, we refer to March as Christmas in March is our spring training tagline. Year over year, this March sales tax was 10% above what it was the previous year, which is a significant increase. And year to date, the city is 3.4% over where we were last year. So that's very encouraging news because, as you know, that's a big part of Mesa's economy. Years ago, we made a decision as a community not to rely heavily on property tax, but rather to focus on providing utilities and to rely heavily on sales tax. So we're very dependent on that, and we're optimistic because it looks like the public investments that we've made in spring training and other things are bearing good fruit. So those are some of the things that I was hoping to get out and to let people know about. In closing, as far as the things I'd like to say, let me just make you aware of a few events that are coming up that I think are important and we want people to know about. I mentioned previously the light rail milestone. That's going to be on June the 3rd. And again, we'd invite the press and everyone who's interested in downtown and in light rail to come out to that event. And again, at that event, we will announce what the ultimate grand opening date for the light rail will be. But that will be sometime early fall or the end of the summer. Another very exciting event that I'm looking forward to is the opening of a new swimming pool in the city of Mesa. It's called the Mesa Aquatic Center. This is the pool that you may have noticed sitting front and center in front of Mesa High School. There are some things, different cities I think have different strengths, and one of the strengths of the city of Mesa is our aquatics program. If you haven't been a part of it, again, much like the Mesa Art Center, I'd encourage you change your ways and try to get involved in it. Every summer, there's thousands and thousands of kids that come to our what will now be 9 city-operated swimming pools. They're involved in competitive swimming and recreational swimming. It's just something that I think we are very good at. So improving on that will be again, this new swimming pool in front of Mesa High School called the Mesa Aquatics Complex. That will be opening this Saturday, March 23rd at 11:30 is when the ribbon cutting is. This is not just another swimming pool. There's a lot of water features that are built into this pool. So regardless of where you live in the city of Mesa, I think and you have kids, or you're just a swimming pool fan, I think you want to go out of your way to come and visit the new Mesa Aquatics Complex. In addition to just a regular lap and dive pool for competitive swimming and for exercise, there will be a leisure pool, and this is the exciting part, a lazy river. So I'm looking forward to floating down the lazy river this Saturday at the Mesa Aquatic Complex. It will be a hit, and encourage everybody to be there. Another important event that I want everybody to know about is the hydration donating campaign that we have in the city of Mesa. This is an annual event. As you know, being outside during the summer months can be challenging, particularly for those who are unfortunate enough to not have a place to live. So to address that health concern, the city of Mesa for the last few years has been very active in a hydration campaign soliciting the donation of bottled water so that we can help address that problem. The goal for this year's drive is to get 400,000 bottles of water donated. So in order to do that, we really need to engage the entire community as much as possible. The locations of where you can make these donations will be on the city website. But in addition to that is information about some incentives that are being made available through some great businesses like Golfland and Skateland and some of the city aquatics facilities to encourage people to be generous in making donations of bottled water towards the hydration campaign. And again, that campaign will start on June the 1st, but it will go through September 18th. So if individually or as part of a service organization or a church group, if folks in the community can help us with that important event, we really would appreciate it. And then the last event I'd want to make sure you know about is something that we're starting through the mayor's office here just in this next month. We do have a need in Mesa. Hunger is a problem in Mesa, Arizona, just like it is anywhere. And to help address that issue, the mayor's office is going to each month for the next, going forward, partner with one of the agencies that is helping to address that problem, to highlight those agencies, hopefully give them some additional exposure, let people know what they can do to be engaged in helping to solve that problem. The United Food Bank is kind of the quarterback in our area for addressing the hunger problem. So we're going to partner with United Food Bank, and each month they will help us identify a particular agency that we're going to spotlight. For the month of June, we're going to start with the Manna Food Bank. And so on the 6th of June, from 10 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that's a Saturday, I will be at the United Food Bank helping them to open some new facilities. They're going to reopen their thrift store. They've also got new facilities and refrigerated trucks and other things that we're going to help everybody know about and hopefully encourage some additional donations. The Manna Food Bank is a significant operation. Last year, they delivered more than 3 million pounds of food, and that's approximately 500,000 meals. So this is, again, one of the great organizations in our community that is helping to address the hunger problem. So that's who we're going to highlight in June, and then we'll move on to some other organizations. So thank you very much. Those are the comments that I wanted to share, but I'm more than happy to respond to any questions that you might have about those topics or anything else. I think we have a microphone here just in case someone does want to ask a question, because we're broadcasting this and we're going to rebroadcast it on Channel 11. That will help us have a better broadcast. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you, Maria. There you go.
Yes. I was just curious because there's been some back and forth lately I've seen about possibly renting equipment to inventory users at Falcon Field.
Yes.
To get a better idea of who's coming in, especially people who are pilots, I guess I should say, who are not based at Falcon Field. And then I know some pilots are worried that this would actually discourage activity at the airport. So I was just curious if you had any thoughts on that, especially given your focus on Falcon as an economic hub.
Yes, thank you. The equipment that we are thinking about acquiring to help us at Falcon will help us to identify who are the people that are using Falcon. Now, I can understand why that might make some people nervous, because it also is the same type of equipment that you would use if you were to want to adopt a landing fee. But this equipment is useful in a number of different ways, and the reason that we are acquiring it now is because Falcon is an interesting test study. There's a lot of the neighbors or other people who are concerned about the type of users that are coming in. To what extent is the flight school using? How many operations are they conducting? How many folks are coming in from kind of non-resident airports? And in order for us to have an intelligent conversation about this and to identify what the problems are or might not be at Falcon, we need to have good information. We need to know exactly who is using the airport. So I can understand why gathering that information might seem like it's a precursor to ultimately adopting some sort of a user tax at the airport. That's not what we're doing. We're acquiring the capability to keep track of who's there so that we have good information, so that going forward, rather than debating based on rumor or perception, we have data to use as we talk about that. You bet. Well, thank you very much. If there are any other questions, I'd be happy to respond to them. But if not, again, thank you for helping us get out the word. There's a lot of good news in Mesa, Arizona right now, and we're anxious for people to understand that. I have been on the job, I think, about 8 months now. And I'll just take a personal moment to tell you that I'm having the time of my life. This is, I wish my fondest hope and dream for all of you would be someday to be the mayor of Mesa, Arizona. This is a great job. This is an exciting place to talk about, and we're on the cusp of some really exciting things in downtown and really throughout Mesa. The economy is strong. Mesa is a big city. We are getting a lot of attention, not only locally but nationally and beyond. So I hope everyone is as excited about Mesa's future as I am. So thank you very much for being here.